Hey folks, Dirk Hogue here with On the Forecheck. Today we're going to dip into the OTF mailbag where reader Robert wrote in with a question. It says, who do you think becomes the odd man out on the Predators roster now? They already had a pretty crowded roster before Paul Gaustad and Andrei Kostitsyn were added at the trade deadline. So who do you think the regular scratches are going to be the rest of the way? Now, that's a great question because one of the things that changes after the NHL trade deadline is that the 23-man roster limit no longer applies. Currently, for example, the Predators have 25 guys on the active roster, 15 forwards among them. Since this question deals with the forwards, that's where we're going to zero our attention for right now. And it might help to focus on the guys who we know are pretty safe and should be in the lineup on an every night basis. Right? You've got David Legwand, Mike Fisher, Paul Gaustad, and Nick Smalling down the middle. On the wing, you've got Martin Erat, Patrick Hornquist, Colin Wilson, Jordan Tutu, Sergei and Andrei Kostitsyn. So that gets us up to 10 forwards, 12 skate on any given night. But we're still left with 5 guys. So first of all, I think we can safely assume that Brian McGrattan's probably going to get scratched quite a bit. Fighting becomes less of a role here late in the year, and especially once we get to the playoffs. Then that leaves us with 4. Now, I'd say Craig Smith is a likely candidate to get scratched quite a bit. He's still a rookie, and we know Barry Trotz and the Predators love to bring their rookies along slowly. Recall what happened with Colin Wilson last year. He missed most of that first-round playoff series. So now that leaves us with 3 guys for 2 spots. You have Brandon Yip, Gabriel Bourque, and Matt Halachuk. And each of those 3 guys brings something a little different to the table. Halachuk, he has a lot of confidence from the coaches, and he can also fill in on the penalty kill. He's also known for scoring those opportunistic goals down in front of the net. Gabriel Bourque, he brings just incredible speed and a tenacious two-way game. We've seen him featured on a number of different lines. And Brandon Yip, he's a little bit more of a physical presence. He can battle along the boards. He can go in front of the net and make things happen. So I think depending on the opponent that night, Barry Trotz can work those 3 guys into 2 of those spots depending on what he wants to see. Now, Tom Callahan, the Predators radio play-by-play man, reports from Florida today that Paul Gaustad is going to center Brandon Yip and Gabriel Bourque tonight. So that's leaning towards Craig Smith and perhaps Matt Halachuk being the odd guys out for tonight. But again, I think you're going to see that change quite a bit depending on who the opponent is and frankly how those individual guys are going. When you have extra bodies on hand like this, there's competition between those players to get into the lineup, and you can bet that they're going to be working hard for every opportunity down the stretch and into the playoffs. So, Robert, thanks for your question. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to submit a question to be answered here, there's 3 great ways to get a hold of me. First, you can email me. My email address is the.forechecker@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter @forechecker, or you can find us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/ontheforecheck. So I look forward to getting more of your questions. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Once again, this is Dirk Hogue with On the Forecheck.